Yes, good evening to everyone. My name is David Homer, and I'm going to be your presenter for this evening. It is my pleasure to be able to do so. I think that you're going to be um, encouraged and hopefully inspired and even motivated by the information that you're going to hear. Um, we're going to be talking about money, a subject that some people shy away from speaking about. I used to be one of those people. Today, I am a blessed man. I live a blessed life because I've learned the value of money and I've learned how that works along with my other interest in my life, which is health. And if we're going to live an effective life, our life needs to stand on two very strong legs. One is health and one is wealth. They're two sides of the same coin. And I've learned that one cannot be optimized without the other. After 25 years of clinical practice in naturopathic medicine, of course, I've learned the value of health. And along the way, being an entrepreneur and investing in various things, I've also learned the value of money and how they work together. And so this evening, we're going to be looking at the leg of wealth, notwithstanding the fact that it works simultaneously in concert with our health if we were to live an effective life. Without further ado, let me just get straight to sharing my screen and let's get into this evening's presentation because we do have some good information that we want to cover with you. Let me just move this out of the way so it does not interfere with the screen as we go along. Um, okay, there we go. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, have um, most people that live on the planet never get to experience what wealth really is. I don't mean having moments in time where we may have gotten a little bit of money and it gave us a breather, and then we had to fill holes again. I'm talking about experiencing a flow of income in our lives, a flow of earnings that fills all our needs with more than enough. And that flow is a continuous flow. But most people on the planet, we live and die and never experience that. And that's primarily because there are five immutable laws that must come together for that to happen. I think it is safe to say that most of us, if not all of us on this call, we have attended presentations like this one over the years that offered different opportunities of how we can increase our financial position. And perhaps, like me, we've experienced some of those opportunities that served us in some good measure, but they never quite fit or got us to where we wanted to be financially. Well, this evening, this is the direction we're going to be going in and how we can actually get there. Because this is the first time in all of my years that I've come across a system that actually encompasses the five economic laws that actually must come together in order to create wealth. It's important for us to be aware of this because if we go after any opportunity and these five laws are not integrated into whatever we're doing, the most we can expect to have is a little measure of, but we will always be trying to fill a bucket that has leaks in it. The five laws that must come together, and it's important that we know this if we are really going to position ourselves in a place of wealth. And we ought to do that because wealth really is our birthright, and I really do believe that. The first law is that value must be created. Value creation is law number one. And just by the way, when I say laws, I mean not laws made by man, but creative laws, principles of universal principles that anyone who harnesses these laws, there's only one outcome there could be, and that is wealth will flow through your life. The first law is that value must be created. And once that value is created, it must be something that solves a problem or fills the need or in some meaningful way serves a society. The second law is that that value must be owned, not owned as in a possession, but owned in a way that you have the say, you have the authority, and you have the sovereignty to determine what that value, how it will work, how it will continue, how its potential could be maximized. You have to be the one that holds the authority to say what happens with that value. If someone else owns that value, then you have lost the potential to go any further. But once we have gotten to law number two, which is ownership, you own that value. It seamlessly flows into law number three, which is leverage. Leverage is how we are going to take that value and we are going to scale it and increase it and grow it by utilizing systems and resources that causes it to grow, but without increasing any effort. It's called leverage. That automatically flows into the fourth law, which is compound growth. And compound growth is how that growth begins to increase and accelerate exponentially. And that flows right into the fifth law, which is stewardship. Stewardship is when we take all that value that has been increased and grown and we circulate it right back to the beginning of where the value was created. That means that when it circulates back to its origin, it comes back to the beginning increased. And so there is an increase that goes through that cycle again, and it continues with a continuous loop. This is how true wealth is not only created, but how it continuously flows, becomes generational, and it really becomes a legacy and our birthright. This is the direction that we're going to be going in this evening. And I'm going to introduce you to a system that harnesses these five laws. And if we tap into this system, we are going to become participants where we can harness these five laws. So as we consider this, let us begin. It's important that I put this disclaimer, that it be clear that I am not here to give financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a qualified financial consultant of any type. And so the information that I'm going to give you is just for your education and your information so that you can make an informed decision as we go along. Let us begin by introducing you to our parent company.
Tonight, look around this room. Look at the people next to you. Everything we see started with a dream shared by us. This year, we didn't just work. We built a new world together. With your dedication, we powered the miracle chain. We gave life to Mirex and Phoenix. Every node active today is a testament to our collective intelligence. We saw the invisible. Metaterra is vision. Through Bellator, you proved that the strongest currency is trust. We built a clean, powerful family, not a hierarchy, but a brotherhood of leaders. This success belongs to every single one of you. Metaterra is unity. We broke barriers with Miracle Pay. Because of your passion, financial freedom is no longer a concept. It is a reality we delivered to the world. Metaterra is freedom. And look how far we've come, to beyond Bucharest. We are physically shaping the skyline, building an airport, a landmark, a history with our own hands. This is the mark we leave on the earth. Metaterra is legacy. But above all, your hard work turned into kindness for those in need. That is our true heart. So tonight, raise your glasses to what we've built and the giants we are becoming. Metaterra is goodness. Metaterra, the future is ours.
So, what we're going to be talking about is owning your financial future. And I'm going to introduce you to how this is possible through our parent company, Metaterra, and our FinTech Agency company, Bellator, which sits under our parent company, Metaterra. When we say owning your financial future, it is the only way that we can actually create and sustain wealth. If someone else owns our life, are we free? No. If someone else owns our financial future, could we be financially free? The answer is no. If we want true financial freedom, we have to own our financial future. This means that we cannot entrust our financial future to an institution where we may be employed because job security is not security anymore. We cannot entrust our financial future to social programs that the government may offer, and as good as that may be for society, we cannot depend on that because that will not guarantee financial security for our future. We have to become the architects that design and mold and create what our financial future will be. If we don't own it, then we will always rent our freedom to someone else. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening, we're talking about not just a financial opportunity, but more than that, a financial solution to how we can own our financial future. And it's all within the future of digital finance. Many of us may be familiar with the term, and we may be aware that most of what we are doing in our day to day transactions of buying and selling happens digitally through our debit and credit cards. But digital finance has reached a new place in this world, and maybe not all of us are fully aware. And so I took a few clips that of some of the leading institutions in the world of finance. The International Monetary Fund has an article that is worth looking up. It talks about the new era of digital money. The World Bank provides knowledge and financing to help close the global digital divide and make sure countries can take full advantage of the ongoing digital revolution. Many of us are familiar with SWIFT. SWIFT is the global banking network that connects all the banks to move money across borders. SWIFT takes bold steps to unlock the benefits of digital finance on a global scale. Another of its articles that it put out recently said that SWIFT to add blockchain-based ledger to its infrastructure stack in groundbreaking move to accelerate the scale of benefits of digital finance across more than 200 countries and territories worldwide. I did that for us to be able to see that digital finance, it's reshaping the world that we're in. We are at a new era and we have come to a new threshold in the evolution of digital finance that it's about to escalate and accelerate. And those of us that are not aware, we may be caught finding ourselves scrambling to catch up. And so what we are going to be talking about is in that world. And I'm going to share just a few short videos with us to help to bring the understanding, to help to bring context to it, so that you can assign meaning and value of what we are talking about to your life. Because it's only if you can assign meaning and value to you that align with your own core values could you make a really true, informed, conscious decision about the information we're going to give you. This first video gives us a good framework of understanding of what we were talking about and where we're going. Listen carefully. This is a generic video which I took off of YouTube. It's available and it's worth actually looking over a couple of times because we won't be able to catch everything the first time around. But take a listen.
Forget everything you thought you knew about money. We're living through a quiet revolution, a moment where the very definition of value is being rewritten. The world is tokenizing, and money, believe it or not, is just the beginning. When most people hear crypto, they think of Bitcoin, a digital currency floating in cyberspace. But that's like looking at the invention of the internet and only seeing email. What's truly happening is far bigger, far more profound. We're witnessing the birth of a new digital layer for our entire economy. This isn't just about digital cash. Imagine owning a fraction of a skyscraper in Tokyo, a piece of a Monet painting, or even a share in a forest that generates carbon credits. This is the promise of tokenization. We're taking real-world assets, real estate, art, intellectual property, you name it, and transforming them into digital tokens that live on a blockchain. These aren't just JPEGs. They're digital twins of physical things, carrying ownership rights, history, and value. Suddenly, assets that were once illiquid and exclusive are becoming divisible, tradable, and accessible to anyone with an internet connection. It's the democratization of ownership on a scale we've never seen before. So, how is this all possible? The engine driving this transformation is blockchain technology. But let's be clear, blockchain isn't just a fleeting trend, it's a fundamental infrastructure shift, as significant as the railways or the internet itself. Think of it as a new financial architecture being built right under our noses. For decades, our financial system has been a patchwork of slow, expensive, and centralized databases. Blockchain offers a different model, a shared, transparent, and immutable ledger. It's like upgrading from a horse-drawn carriage to a high-speed magnetic levitation train. We're building digital bridges between the old world of finance, Web 2, and the new decentralized world of Web 3, creating a system that's more efficient, transparent, and interconnected. This new architecture brings with it a new set of rules and a fundamental shift in power. In this new world, ownership is becoming programmable. Through something called smart contracts, self-executing agreements written in code, we can define exactly how an asset behaves. Imagine a share of stock that automatically pays you dividends, or a digital concert ticket that grants you access to exclusive content after the show. Your digital identity can be verified instantly without relying on a central authority. This isn't just about buying and selling. It's about embedding logic, rights, and rules directly into our assets. It's a world where the code is, quite literally, the law. Power is shifting from intermediaries to individuals. So, the billion-dollar question is, who wins in this massive transition? It's not just the early crypto adopters or the Wall Street giants. The winners will be those who can bridge the gap, the ones who understand both the language of capital and the logic of code. They are the new hybrid investors, the digital architects who can see the connections between traditional markets and this emerging token economy. They'll use sophisticated AI-driven tools to navigate this complex landscape, managing portfolios that seamlessly blend stocks, bonds, and tokenized assets. This isn't about choosing one world over the other, it's about mastering both. The ability to speak both languages, finance and technology, will be the defining skill of the next generation of wealth creation. But let's not get carried away by the hype. This new frontier is exciting, but it's also fraught with risk. With great power comes great responsibility, and decentralization without sensible guardrails can quickly lead to chaos. We've already seen glimpses of this: dramatic flash crashes on unregulated exchanges, billions lost to hacks, and protocols collapsing overnight. The speed of innovation is far outpacing the speed of regulation, creating a Wild West environment where investors are vulnerable. Security is a constant battle, and the promise of a trustless system still relies heavily on the integrity of its underlying code. Navigating this world requires not just optimism, but a healthy dose of skepticism and a deep understanding of the potential pitfalls. This is more than just an investment trend. It's the future of our financial system taking shape in real time. The rules are being written right now, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Understanding this new system isn't optional anymore. It's essential for anyone who wants to protect their wealth, seize new opportunities, and have a say in the financial world of tomorrow. This isn't a game you can afford to sit out, because whether you participate or not, this new system is being built around you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this we have to see this for what it really is, because it really is important. Because I'm sure we're all aware, money is the lifeblood that flows through an economy or flows through the society. And just like circulation in the body, if money does not circulate freely throughout society, wherever it's not circulating well, it's always going to be compromised and suffer. And so, when it comes to this whole business of money, we need to really pay attention to this shift that's taking place. Now, what we are talking about, they're talking about a tokenized age, a tokenized world. And I want to encourage you to do your research and look into this, because everything is being tokenized. In fact, the experts are saying within the next 2 years, all stocks, all major assets are going to be tokenized, which means that they're now going to become digital assets, and everything is moving to the blockchain. Tokenization, just to put it simply, it is a paradigm shift in ownership that enables anyone, regardless of capital, education, status, or location, access and own assets that were previously out of reach, because tokenization in effect is fractional ownership. We can now own a lot of things that we could not have, would have been out of reach, because we can now just own fractions of them and benefit from the value of it. And that's what they're calling the democratization of ownership. And for those who are in the financial world, you may know the name Larry Fink, who is perhaps one of the most influential voices in the financial world. He says that tokenization will redefine how assets are owned, transferred, and settled, bringing financial markets onto digital networks. And so we are at a place of convergence where the two worlds, a digital economy and our real world, is converging, and it is going to, and it's creating a new economic structure of how the world is going to function. In fact, it's not just a new monetary model or a new monetary reshaping. It is actually a civilizational shift, because it's going to affect how all of us participate across the globe in life generally, because everything we do is going to involves money. Perhaps the biggest shift in this is how we are going to participate, because most of us participate in digital finance with limitations. But in this new digital reality, we get to participate from a new position. It's a position of authority. What do I mean by that? Is that because we can now determine what we can own. And listen to this, because we've never had this before. We can now determine what we own, how much we can own, how it is used, how much money we can create. We now have a position of authority, because the doorway of ownership is now open for us, where we can now own assets in ways that we could not have before. And that is the doorway to accessing the other laws. Now, the bridge that's going to bridge these two worlds, we call it our miracle bridge, because Miracle Technologies, which falls under our parent company Metaterra, has created a infrastructure that bridges these two worlds, but it's done so wonderfully that it actually embraces the five laws that I mentioned. And so we're going to talk a little bit about our governance and regulated oversight and why that's so important. We're going to look at technology and blockchain infrastructure and what that means. We'll look at the utility, real world assets, and what's available to us. And as a community, how the whole system all comes together and how it works for us. And so, perhaps one of the most significant events that took place in this whole bridging of these two worlds as the world evolves into this new digital era is what took place last year, 2020, July 2025, that in my estimation, it's like the gun at the starting block, the trigger being pulled, and the world is now going to accelerate into a new digital era where everything is changing and it's going to change rapidly. For those who are not aware, the current sitting president of the United States, he signed into federal law the Genius Act that now opened the floodgates for this digital economy to begin to take shape quite rapidly, and that's what's happening as we speak. Here's what happened.
This afternoon, we take a giant step to cement American dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we sign the landmark Genius Act. I pledge that we would bring back American liberty and leadership and make the United States the crypto capital of the world, and that's what we've done. The Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins.
This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system, and it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally. This is a huge promise made and promise kept by President Trump. We have a deal maker in chief, and it's because of your vision, your leadership, your determination, your skill that we're all here today. So thank you very much, President Trump.
With today's signing, the future of crypto and the crypto industry, the U.S. dollar working together is going to be stronger and bigger and better than ever before. And thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, governments and legislatures around the world have, even before the Genius Act was signed, they were already putting the frameworks in place. But now that this is done, here in the United States, all banks by law now must come in alignment with these new regulations. And so for those who once thought that cryptocurrencies were some far off thing and not real money, we need to become aware that this is now legal tender and it's going to become the mainstream, and it's already beginning to happen. And so the crypto legislation now enables institutions to begin to accept crypto as legitimate payments, and the whole banking institution globally is now coming in alignment with this. This is something that we need to really pay attention to and consider how we are going to position ourselves if we are going to own our financial futures. And so, one of the big issues that we face at this point in time, which was mentioned by David Sachs, the guy who was speaking along with Donald Trump, is that the payment systems that exist right now does not accommodate cryptocurrencies and digital currencies as easily as we do now with debit and credit cards. So, for example, I can take my debit card or my credit card that may be held on a Caribbean bank, and I could use it here in the US, I could use it in Europe. And if I were to tap or swipe it at any machine, it doesn't matter that the currency of the country that that card belongs to, it does the transaction. Or I could take my card from my US bank, I can go to Germany and I can tap it and it will do the transaction with as seamlessly. But here in the crypto world, we have different cryptocurrencies that run on different blockchains. But we don't have a payment system that I can go to a particular machine and I can tap and swipe a card, and it doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana or Cardano or it doesn't matter the crypto. It will just do it as seamlessly as it would a regular or debit card. Such a payment system does not exist for that to happen until now. And I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. Now, when I looked at that and I was speaking with someone a few weeks ago, about a couple of weeks ago, and it caused me to do some research, and this is what I found is that Visa annual transactions where people are tapping and swiping their card is about 16 trillion annually, and MasterCard is 9 to 10 trillion annually. Of course, there are other providers, but I just chose these two because they're the popular ones. And the discussion that I was having with the people is he was saying is that, there are not a lot of people that have cryptocurrencies. But when you look at cryptocurrencies and what's happening on blockchain across exchanges, it's 18 to 25 trillion dollars move across blockchains, across between settlements and exchange transfers, decentralized financial activities, and so on. Granted, crypto is less than 1% of global consumer payments, and that because there is no payment system where it can be easily accepted, and that hence the upgrading of payment systems have to come. And so that's where it comes in now with what our company is bringing to the world. That's the first law, value creation. It's filling a need that the world has right now, and it's bringing a solution to the world at this point in time. The foundation that we stand on with our company, our parent company, Metaterra, we're standing on a foundation of credibility and compliance. And that's important because if we're talking about our future, we need to ensure that what we are standing on is sustainable and long lasting. And so we are moving beyond unregulated crypto projects. We are built on a foundation of corporate accountability. We are days away from receiving our ticker from the SEC, being listed on the NASDAQ as a publicly traded company. That is very important because only publicly traded companies by law have to give account for their functions. There's the regulatory scrutiny, the compliance, all our financial records have to be open for the public. And so this is important because it gives us not only that transparency, we have that corporate governance, that oversight, and we know that we're standing on solid ground with the company that we have. But what's also equally, if not more important, is who's standing at the helm of this company to ensure that it has longevity and it has that stability. And we have a world-class leadership and advisory board that has brought this company to where it is over 8 years of development to where they are today, where we are also on a threshold. We are now in 2026 about to cross over into the biggest leap that this company has made in its development so far. The visionary and CEO and founder of it all is Hakan Torhan, and he started this vision back in 2017, and it has evolved to what it is today. And he's the brains and the heart of the whole enterprise. Michael Theard, he is his focus is global expansion, and he's the CEO of Bellator Life, and his expertise is giving it that driving the global expansion through community involvement. Our chairman is Douglas Anderson, who is a Wall Street icon. He's the CEO of Wall Street Capital Partners. He is a If you look at his bio on our website, metaterra.com, you'll see how very well connected he is. He is an icon on Wall Street. Stephen Norris, he developed, he was the founder of the Carlyle Group, a huge asset management company. Um, he has years or decades in the financial arena. He has made a stellar name for himself in the financial world. People like Stephen Norris, who is a world renowned economist. He's an economic advisor to the current president. In the first Trump administration, he was appointed as the chairman of the Federal Reserve, which he declined for his own personal reasons. We have people that are very strong in the financial arena and also in the technology arena, like John Bear, who started with Cellular One, cell phone technology. He's at the forefront or the base of that. When you talk about internet technology, he's the founder of Widevine, which developed the technology that Google now is based its operations on. He's also the architect of streaming technology that Netflix and those people use. So we have people that are very steeped in the area of technology, in finance. Monica Profit, she wrote the book Blockchain 101. And the things that we're doing, you can go onto the website and you can look at it, but we have a very strong leadership. And these people don't think in terms of 3 to 5 years. These people think in terms of decades. And they have ensured that our structure is solid enough and that we are positioned enough and well connected enough. And we have a global footprint right now where we are have offices in 13 countries, and we also are continuing to expand. What we have created is the miracle ecosystem, and it's a connected digital infrastructure. And as I said before, we have offices in 13 countries, and we're probably the only blockchain crypto enterprise that actually has physical crypto stores where you can go in and get you can exchange crypto for fiat, crypto ATMs, and so on. It's important to also recognize that when we say an ecosystem is a system where all parts of that system is so interconnected and they're all interdependent in such a way that if something goes wrong with one part, it actually affects the whole system. That's how ecosystems work. And so it's not different with the ecosystem that they've created. And they call it the architecture of value. And that's really so important. There are multiple sectors of this sector, and they're all interconnected and function like a true ecosystem. But as I pointed out to you earlier, how true value and how wealth is created, that value must circulate from its origin to its expansion all the way back around. This miracle ecosystem, it's a group of interconnected platforms that combine blockchain payments, digital assets, AI, and financial tools into a unified system. Each one have their own role to play, but they're all interconnected. A good way to think about it is it is a digital economy. And like any economy, there has a currency that flows through it. Our currency within this economy is called the FinTech token, and it circulates its value throughout this entire economy. This is important for me to communicate this for you and for you to really get it, because based on the principles I told you in the beginning, as this circulates throughout the economy, it must grow in value and it must keep circulating that value throughout the economy. The important thing to recognize here also is this: if it only circulates in this economy between these sectors, how will it get growth? How will it continue to grow if these sectors are not being utilized externally by the world? And so that's where we begin to now look at our base, which is our blockchain foundation. It's called Miracle Chain. Miracle Chain, like all blockchain enterprises, forms the mechanism, the functional core of how the entire ecosystem works. This is what interconnects everything. What we also need to be aware of is that blockchain technology is what's forming the new layer of the internet, what you're calling Web3. And this is what's bringing what they call a value layer to the internet, and it's going to transform the way the internet functions. That's already happening. While we're talking about finances, we should be aware that every sector of society, the legal sector, the healthcare sector, the real estate, it's all migrating onto blockchain. But we have our own blockchain platform, which is unlike other blockchains that currently exist. It's a layer two blockchain, and it has immutable foundation, meaning that the smart contracts that's deployed and embedded into it that makes it law, it is immutable. So the way how it's structured to function, it can only function that way, and it will continue to function that way. Now, when I say value circulates throughout the ecosystem, how this benefits you and I is that if you and I participated in this ecosystem, the value of the currency that circulates to us, we want to know that it is increasing in value. And when it circulates to us, that's also increasing. So we want to see increasing value of that. There are two ways that this ecosystem does that for all those who are participating in it. The first way is the FinTech token, which grows in its value. How does it grow in its value? Because it's constantly being utilized throughout the economy. And it also needs external input for it to increase its value. As it increases its value, the economy grows. And as the economy grows, this other token is called the Mirix token. This one gains value based on economic growth. I know you're not going to get it all right now because this is new information. But when all of us who participate in this economy, we earn two currencies. One is constant flow. You can call it cash flow. And one is constant equity, which is long-term security. And it's happening every day as we live and participate in this economy. How exactly is this working for us? Well, we have to understand that our blockchain is not just to support this economy, our blockchain supports the entire globe. How? Well, just take a listen and we'll understand in a minute.
Welcome to the future of business. Miracle Chain, where blockchain meets automation and AI transforms how companies grow. Imagine onboarding customers with a tap, paying teams worldwide in seconds, and launching token ecosystems without writing a single line of code. With Iterato, your sales force becomes unstoppable. AI handles the follow-up, while gamification drives viral growth. Need to launch your own token? Miracle Launchpad and DEX give you everything: pre-sales, vesting, swaps, and full control. The Miracle Wallet simplifies finance. No seed phrases, just seamless access to crypto. Commissions and payments, secure, compliant, and easy to white label. And at the core, Miracle Chain. A private layer 2, built for scale, compliance, and automated global payouts. Whether you're selling online or in-store, Miracle Pay bridges fiat and crypto so you can do business anytime, anywhere. Miracle Chain. Powering the digital economy, one smart system at a time.
Before I talk a little more about how it's bridging fiat and crypto, because that speaks to bridging the traditional world of finance along with the digital world of finance when you bring them together. Before I talk about that, I want our blockchain and the ecosystem that I showed you provides services within the digital financial arena that companies now are all migrating, and they're companies that are already lining up for our on-chain activity. What does that mean? It means that there is now input from external sources coming on chain that now increases the flow of value through the ecosystem because they're now tapping in the services, which are our fintech, financial technology, and our decentralized financial services that the whole world is moving towards. We're now also providing that for the world. What does that mean? It means that as they come on chain, the value continues to flow. And because it circulates and it's not extracted, meaning that in our traditional economy, we put value in, it's extracted, it goes to the top, and so the select few gains all the wealth. This value keeps circulating. And so now we have external input from that that's going to help to now the economy to begin to grow. What does this really mean for us? Well, what it means for us is that because we now get to stand in a position of ownership. Why? Because the blockchain is decentralized, meaning there's no central authority. Means that all blockchains that exist on this planet, their core infrastructure is owned by a community because its nature is decentralized. We get to own the assets. These are called nodes. Nodes are, they have different functions, they have different applications across the chain. But Minterra is our on-chain application where we have these assets. They're referred to as NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Remember, we're living in a tokenized age now. And these are just computer licenses, computer software that we get to own, and we all can own various assets. But this now becomes a new architecture of how we now step into the position of ownership. And because these assets are in an environment that actually circulates wealth, we get to leverage, we get to compound, and we get to stewardship it. And so just to give you an idea of how these nodes work and what it means for us, just take a listen to this video, which is just about a minute.
Nodes, the unsung heroes that tirelessly support blockchain infrastructure and lets all blockchain systems keep themselves in check. Think of them as the backbone of the blockchain. Networks require decentralized validation to ensure the security of transactions, where a decentralized network acts as a safeguard. Curious to learn more about how an everyday individual can participate in decentralized finance as a banker? That's where Miracle comes in. Node investments can be your ticket to passive income. As transactions flow through the blockchain, you, as a node investor, earn a share of the pie. It's a revolutionary way to make your money work for you, without the need for constant oversight. Our new products, Node and Leveler, are designed to make you a first mover in the world of blockchain investment. Embrace the future with Miracle, where Node, FinTech, and Leveler work together to mitigate fluctuations. Your future starts here.
So when we own nodes, which is part of the infrastructure, we're literally owning digital real estate. When we own it, just like all tokenization assets on a blockchain, where it's legally owned and it's owned for life. And because these nodes, what they do is that they are validating in various ways every transaction that moves across this economy. In every sector of the economy, as there is movement of value, everything must be validated and recorded and secured across. And this is the same for all blockchains. Every transaction that's being utilized by every sector must be validated, must be recorded, and it must be secured. And what's doing it are these software programs that we get to own. Here's the thing, as the video said, every time it's validating transactions, every time it's performing its functions, fees are being charged. Just like A credit card, every time transactions happens across the globe, there's always fees that are being charged and paid, even though we may not be seeing it. In this case, we get, because we are the owners of the infrastructure, we get to share in the payments of that. And so that's an automated process of how Mentera works. And it is all digital income because we are in a digital economy and a digital infrastructure. Therefore, it is not effort driven, it is asset driven. And so our income is completely passive. And so 7 days a week, 365 days a year, as the blockchain continues to function in all its various sectors, it is bringing income to us every day. And that happens for the rest of our life or for the life that this company would exist. And so you own the asset, you earn, and it scales by virtue of how the very system works. Now, we can take this even further and compound it. And because it's automated and it's asset driven and not effort driven, what does that mean? It means that our time is becoming freer, our income is becoming more, and what we can now redefine what matters to us more in life. But here is where it gets even better. Miracle Pay is the unique technology software that Miracle has brought to the world to bridge the gap of fiat and crypto. Miracle Pay is how merchants can now accept cryptocurrencies regardless of the cryptocurrency you might be using or what blockchain you may be running on, just like how we would use a credit or a debit card, regardless of the currency of the country we are in, we can travel it and use it freely. In the same way, that global interoperability is what Miracle Pay brings to the world, solving the solution that the world is looking for. There are many companies striving for it, but Miracle has been building this infrastructure for the last 8 years. And now we are first to market to bring this to the world. So, to give you an idea of how it works, take a listen.
Let's rewind thousands of years to a time before money existed. How did people pay? A sack of wheat? Some heavy metal? Or maybe a live chicken? Trying to fit a chicken in your wallet? Not ideal. Luckily, financial revolutions followed one another, bringing us to the present day. And today, a new revolution begins. Miracle Pay. So, what is Miracle Pay? It's your innovative, secure, and transparent way to accept payments in any cryptocurrency. Why blockchain? Because it's decentralized. No more bank bureaucracy, no more endless paperwork. And security? It's not controlled by a few guys in a suit. It's secured by hundreds of millions of people across thousands of nodes worldwide. With Miracle Pay, you can get paid anywhere. Whether you're selling ice cream on a glacier in Alaska or selling hot tea in the middle of the Sinai Desert. We might question your business model, but never your payment system. 24/7 security, 99.9% uptime, and support for over 100 wallets. Miracle Pay is your trusted blockchain partner. Join Miracle Pay today. Integrate the future of payments into your business right now.
So, how are they doing that? Well, they've built a global financial infrastructure by securing contracts And some of the contracts are exclusive with four of the world's largest payment providers. You can look up their names. It's Ingenico, Pax, Verifone, and NCR. These are the four largest terminal providers, both online and in store. And we also have integration with Shopify, which serves over 875 million customers. These providers have now integrated and preloaded our Miracle Pay software into their terminals, making providing the facility now where people that are holding trillions of dollars in cryptocurrency that could not have had that operability to be able to use it freely, they can now do so. And so now I'm also happy to say that in next week, on the 25th of this month, this system goes live globally. And so we are going to be seeing now even more input externally coming in to our economy. Our economy now is going to be bustling with more and more activity. Obviously, because this is all now rolling out, because legislation has now have been laid down and it's still being finalized. So there will be a process and a period of adoption over time, but the system now goes live. And so I want us to capture what I'm saying is that here is more external activity, and you're talking about over 100 million merchants worldwide that will have our software integrated into their systems, where people will, as they gradually become to know more and more about the facility, we're going to see even more and more activity from that. And here's what happens for us.
You've probably heard the saying, if only I were early. Early to Bitcoin, early to Amazon, early to Tesla. Well, here it is again. But this time, it's not about hype. It's about owning the rails of a new financial system. Introducing CPU nodes, digital assets that earn daily from real crypto transactions happening worldwide. Every time someone pays with crypto, in-store or online, a small fee powers the network. And if you own a node, you get paid. These nodes are already paying every single day in a digital currency undervalued today, but set to explode in the months ahead. We've secured contracts with 4 global terminal providers, giving us access to over 100 million active merchants. And we're also integrated with major online retailers, processing billions each month. When even a small percentage of that volume transacts in crypto, node rewards skyrocket. The system is active. Payouts have begun. We're funding our aggressive expansion, not with Wall Street, but with everyday people like you. Together, we're decentralizing wealth by owning the new infrastructure of money. Timing is everything. Own a node now and earn every day for life.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will leave it to your imagination to think about the type of activity that takes place in merchants all over the world with our regular debit and credit cards. And as this system rolls out to the world and people begin to use, because the obvious question is, how do they do it? Well, there are crypto enabled MasterCards that we have that you can load any cryptocurrency on it and use it as freely. And I'll talk about that in a minute. You're going to get to see how that works. That is millions of transactions that will be coming into our economy. That's what is that doing? It's expanding the value. What does that mean? More value circulates to us. Added to that, we have our equity token platform. This is where real world assets tokenization happens. And this is what the world is doing right now. And they're looking for the facilities. In fact, we are now tokenizing some of the largest projects ever tokenized in the world, our company is doing. And so we get to own the nodes that also are involved in this sector of our ecosystem. And it benefits us and it also pays us for life for every asset or every project that is being tokenized that comes on chain. We get to benefit from that. And this is just a different type of node that also does that. I'm just going to play 2 minutes of a clip of this where our chairman, Douglas Anderson, is having a conversation on Wall Street.
Hi, I'm Monica Malpass here at the New York Stock Exchange for New to the Street and FinTech TV. Welcome. And we have the pleasure of having not one but two guests today. We have Pablo Smavribas. He is the Senior Managing Director of Maxim Group's Investment Banking Division. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
Douglas Anderson, great to have you back. He is, of course, Chairman of Metaterra Holdings, as well as CEO of Wall Street Capital Partners and Chairman of the New Bucharest Capital Airport. So a man with at least three, if not more, hats. Great to have you both.
Great to be here, Monica. Thank you.
There are some exciting possibilities, collaborations that you are both considering for your companies. Tell us a little bit about that, Douglas.
Well, you know, Metaterra Holdings has kind of reached a point where we want to reach out to a strong banking firm on Wall Street to partner with us and shepherd us through an uplisting process onto the NASDAQ main board as quickly as we can. I can announce that we've acquired a shell company. Metaterra Holdings Inc. has acquired a shell company. We're going to reverse into that shell company, and at that stage, it's time for us to engage a great firm. And I've known Maxim for many years, and Pavlos is a good friend of mine, and I can't think of anyone we'd rather be with. So we're exploring that right now. We're going to try and get that papered up and get on the road to success.
Wonderful.
Another great thing about Maxim is, as I said, they've been on the street for many years. They collaborated with and closed around $18 billion in the aggregate of transactions last year, and they're growing. And they're also extremely comfortable in the space that we're going in, because we're talking about tokenizing. Basically, with this airport, we'll have the largest tokenized asset in the world.
Wow.
And to have a firm that's comfortable in the emerging market, comfortable in cross-listing, comfortable in crypto and tokenization, all of those things, Maxim's a perfect firm for that.
And I'm also happy to also announce that since then, our company has also signed a deal to tokenize oil reserves in Saudi Arabia, a $12 billion deal. And so this company has very far reach in this industry. But just to say to you that this is more external input that's coming into our economy, that those of us who own the assets, all that is that if you're getting the sense and getting the picture of it, is that there is constant value flowing in, it is circulating, it is flowing back, it is increasing, and it really is a wealth generating economy. Not to spend any time on this, we have our FinTech Arena. I just mentioned this because some of you may be aware that gaming is a big industry globally. And a couple of weeks ago, we launched our gaming platform, which is called FinTech Arena. And they're still adding new games to it, but this is also going to be, again, this is more input that's coming in for people in the gaming world, because every transaction, just to play a game, just to be on board, of course, there's always fees and there's always payments of that. We have our Miracle decentralized exchange and centralized exchange, where there are millions of traders all over the world, and we have special tournaments even where this is actually linked. Our FinTech Arena, this is all continuous input. I'm not going to spend any time on that. But where it all comes together is our Miracle Neo, and this is our digital banking access. So Miracle Neo connects users to everyday financial tools that link crypto with traditional banking turning our digital value into practical spending power. And so with Miracle Neo, you have fully functional online banking. You have IBAN accounts. IBAN is where you can have traditional banking account that crosses borders and it links both the digital and the traditional world of finance together. And there's that seamless connection, that seamless bridge between the two. And so the technology that Miracle is bringing to the world that bridges this digital economy with the real world and bring them together through our Miracle Bridge, we are the first to present this to the world, and we are very proud that we are all part of this. And so you have your crypto enabled debit card, and from your account, you get to load whatever cryptocurrencies you may have on it, be it the ones native to our chain or other cryptocurrencies. It can facilitate up to 200 different cryptocurrencies that you can use at any point of sale terminal around the world as well as online. And so, what you want to look at is how do you own the asset? There are assets that are available. We won't be able to go into all of that, but what I would highlight is one of the primary assets that we have, which is the Miracle CPU node. Well, we all know CPU is a computer processing unit. This is part of the very foundation of our blockchain infrastructure. It's, in my opinion, perhaps the most valuable node that we have. Why? Because it participates in validation and securing and recording the activity across every sector of the economy. Whereas nodes like the Project X node, which is hugely valuable in and of itself, it deals primarily with the sector that deals with tokenization and those tokenizing projects. And other nodes will deal with various sectors. But the CPU node, its value is system wide. It deals with the entire economy. This node, just before we go live, the payment system goes live on the 25th. That's next Wednesday. On the 24th, these CPU nodes are going to be gone. They no longer will be available for purchase. And so until that date, the 24th, which is next week, Tuesday, they have a special offer where if you buy one, you're going to get an additional node free. So in effect, it's costing you $600 for what I personally think is a dead giveaway for this asset that you will have in your custody for life. It's willable, it's transferable, it's saleable, but the value of what this is going to do, it is, if we were to go through the figures, in terms of securing your financial future, there is nothing that I've ever come across in my years of business, in my years of entrepreneurship, that has the potential and the capacity to do what these nodes are doing. And so, just to recap, is that your CPU nodes you're going to be earning from global crypto transactions around the world daily from all of our partners. We earn 10 to 30% of every transaction fee, and that's in perpetuity. In addition to that, our nodes are mining, which is creating the Phoenix token every day. What will happen to the Phoenix token as the value continues to pour in and circulate? One thing happens, the value continues to increase. And may I also say that our Phoenix token is perhaps the only cryptocurrency, the only coin of its type that really has real world transactional activity, real world utility, being connected to 100 million merchants, crypto transactions, tokenization transactions, and all that comes in to our ecosystem. While our nodes are producing the Phoenix token, it's simultaneously producing the Merix token as well. And so while we have daily cash flow, so to speak, from the Phoenix, we're also producing the Merix token, which is a revenue sharing token. It is linked to the growth of the economy. As the economy continues to grow, value increases with that. And this is one of the mechanisms of how they're flowing the value back to us. As the Phoenix increases in value, we increase in our capacity for earnings. And as the Merrick increases in value, we increase in our long-term equity. This is such a very powerful and a wonderful system of circulation that they've created. We have the Project X node, which is really our passport into a very unique sector, which is going to, the whole world is going in this direction. And this allows us to be able to earn a 4% revenue on all tokenized projects in perpetuity for as long as this company exists. And another unique feature is that the company has an optional referral program. There are many people that just own assets, the assets produce for them, and they're comfortable with that, and that's fine. And there are those of us like myself that opt to take the referral program where we share this with others. And the reason why I do it is because I know people are looking for an opportunity. And what makes me comfortable to do that with this is because this is one opportunity, the first one that I've come across, that once you participate in this economy, everyone wins. There's no one that loses. How much you are going to gain out of it is completely determined on how much value you're going to participate into it. But are you going to earn? You are going to earn well within this economy. And that's why I'm comfortable to share it with people. The referral program, it has 6 additional streams of income that comes to us and is paid through USDT, which is a US dollar-backed cryptocurrency, is how we earn our commissions. I also want to emphasize that this is not your traditional network marketing company where you have the monthly sales volumes that you have to achieve in order to earn. You have to constantly be recruiting people. You have to have monthly auto ships or subscription. This has none of that inside of it. The referral program is actually tied to the economy, where a lot of the value that's flowing through the economy flows right into the referral program. And those of us who are helping to expand the economy through the referrals, we have a compensation system that allows us to earn more and more. But because the value is actually coming from the economy into the referral program, a lot of the commissions are actually passively earned as well. So some people say to me, well, if there's no monthly requirements of sales volumes and auto ships and so on, where's the money coming from? It is coming from every tap, every swipe of a credit card that pays in crypto. It's coming from every person that's participating within every sector. It's coming from all the tokenization products. It's coming from every people living day to day within the digital financial world. And because we are the first company to market with the technology of what the world is moving into, we have a great advantage. Our company estimates that we are at least 5 years ahead of those that will come. Ladies and gentlemen, I have just introduced you to this new era of finance. This is not an optional thing as to should I be a part of it or not? We are all going to be participating in this new digital financial era. Are we going to be participating as an owner, of infrastructure, or are we going to be participating as a user on the other side of it? The question is, because what's happening now, we as the early adopters in a few years from now, by the time we get to maybe 2030, I don't know, what we have available now is not going to be as easily available. I urge you to think about it. From my short experience as a partner with this company, it has thoroughly impressed me and my family. We have benefited in ways. And so I put this to you. This is an invitation to join the revolution where technology, ownership, and people come together and we begin to participate in an economy that takes us into owning our financial future. The gateway is through Bellator Life. You can have an account. It is free. It takes no money to open an account. And you have access to your back office and all the information that's available to you. And you determine what asset you're going to own, and that now gives you access to participation within an economy that just continuously circulates more and more value to us. And so, as I said, this is not traditional MLM where there's always this constant striving. We have a permanent foundation because it is asset driven. We call it in our company an Aladdin model. And Aladdin is just an acronym that means AI leveraged, asset driven digital income network. And it's a shift from a sales organization to asset ownership. Ownership is always the leverage point or always the doorway to access the other laws that brings us in to a flow of financial income. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for being on the call this evening, for giving me your time, giving me your attention. And what I presented to you, I believe, based on my own experience and what I've shared with other people and what I've seen from other people, this is the only way that I have seen thus far of how we can own our financial future in a way that harnesses the 5 laws of wealth creation that will flow back to us. And so, with that, I would leave you with our Metaterra anthem. You get back to the person that the partner that invited you to be here, and they will tell you what are your next steps to go forward from here. Thank you very much. God bless you and have a good night.
Building a world on the chain, turning the future from cold to flame. Trust in the block, trust in the plan. Metaterra, here we stand. Metaterra, light the way. New tomorrow starts today. From the dust we rise again. Metaterra, we believe we win. Every transaction, every line, carving a path through space and time. From local dreams to global skies, Metaterra, we realize. Metaterra, light the way. New tomorrow starts today. From the dust we rise again. Metaterra, we believe we win. Dreams in motion, bold and clear. The future's calling, we are near. Hand in hand across the chain. Together we'll rise, together we'll gain. Metaterra, light the way. New tomorrow starts today. From the dust we rise again. Metaterra, we believe we win. Metaterra, light the way. New tomorrow starts today. From the dust we rise again. Metaterra, we believe we win. New tomorrow starts today. We believe we win. Light the way. Our tomorrow starts today. Oh, Metaterra, we believe we win.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me see. For those of you who are still here, I forgot to mention that tomorrow evening we are going to be doing another presentation, same time, 6:30 here. Bring your guest, share it with your team, and we'll see you guys tomorrow evening, same time. Thank you once again for being here. God bless all of you, and we'll see you tomorrow evening. Good night.